What's up, everybody? And today we're going to be talking about the UK's new digital ID. This has been a hot topic here in the UK. As someone who is, well, we'll get into it. I'll tell you all about my opinions about it soon. I don't usually get into this stuff. I don't like talking about politics. Even when we've done videos in the past about like the assassination attempt on Donald Trump and stuff like that, I try to keep the politics out of it and just talk about the actual logistics of something like that happening and the security and trying to come at it from a military frame of mind and kind of like a tactical frame of mind. But today, I kind of feel like I have to say something about this, digital ID. So we're going to do a video on that. But before we start, we've got to talk about sponsors. Obviously, the channel sponsor, Chug, here in the UK, small business. You got to support the small businesses, handmade with sustainable materials. You're not going to get a better drinking vessel anywhere in the world. These things are phenomenal. They ship to the US if you're watching it from the US. Take a deep breath, Luke. You can get free customization, free bag, 10% off, link down below, okay? Also, if you didn't see yesterday, very, very exciting news that we released morale to the general public. So you can go over to the website right here, right now, buy yourself a can of morale, crack it open, and taste it for the first time. You can go over there, you can get yourself some morale, get yourself some clothing. I implore you to go check out the website, which is right here. Scan this QR code. We're trying to make the website a place for not just to buy drinks and t-shirt, but also a place of information, like to try and build this community. So what I've done is I put a tab on the website where it'll show, firstly, the podcast that we're doing for morale, which is called Morale Boost, and then also studies about mushrooms. Not the latest studies, but studies that I come across that I think are really valuable for you to see. What I do is I summarize them studies and then summarize those studies and then leave the sources down at the bottom so you can check out the studies for yourself. So anyway, go check out the website. Go buy yourself some morale. How long I've been working on this for nearly 2 years now. Now is the time you can actually go and buy it. Very exciting. If you missed out on the Kickstarter and all that, like, you can buy yourself a pack of 12 cans. I've got packs here that people have already bought. Sales are doing really well. People are really enjoying it, which is the best thing. Seeing people message me being like, this tastes so good, Luke, is such a fulfilling feeling. So if you haven't already, go to the website, buy yourself some morale, and then if you get it, tag us on the Instagram, okay? Tag us on the Instagram. Anyways, all right, digital ID. I've got a few little bits here. Channel 4 did a video on it. We're going to watch the first couple minutes of it because I think it's got some important information. Then we're going to talk about it and then actually go onto the government website and see what it says about it, okay? But let's watch the first couple minutes here.
This was meant to be a day exchanging ideas to take on the rise of populism. Instead, it's turned into an assault on civil liberties, campaigners say. The Prime Minister, they argue, enforcing a big brother state on an entire nation to target relatively few who are working illegally.
For too many years, it's been too easy for people to come here, slip into the shadow economy, and remain here illegally.
Okay. Bullshit. Bullshit. That is the listen. I'm not going to get into what side of the political party I'm on because the moment I do that, you get a belief system about what I think, okay? Believe it or not, although the Western world is very much you're either left or right at the moment, you're either a Republican or a Democrat, you're Labour or Conservative. Although that's the way that the online world portrays people, 99% of common people have a varied, different opinion on different subjects that vary on the political spectrum. You could believe one thing that's relative conservative, and then you can start a different conversation and be very liberal about it. You can be very socialist about it. You can be very conservative. Like, it goes all over the place about everything, okay? And so I'm not going to give you my political opinion. You can probably figure out what it is from this, but I'm not going to give you my political opinion on it. The excuse that this is about illegal immigration, I think everybody across the political spectrum knows that that's a bullshit excuse. They know that that's complete rubbish. They know it's rubbish. I know people who voted Democrat and voted Labour, and people who voted Conservative, and people who voted frigging Reform, and people who voted Green Party, and they all agree that that excuse is bullshit. We know it's bullshit because it's easy to hire people and know whether they're legal or not. And so we know this is an excuse to implement this. Okay, I'm throwing that out there.
The Prime Minister said it wasn't compassionate left-wing politics to exploit foreign workers and undercut fair wages. And this is how he plans to help end it.
This government will make a new free of charge digital ID mandatory for the right to work by the end of this Parliament. Let me spell that out. You will not be able to work in the United Kingdom if you do not have digital ID.
Mandatory digital ID. Now, I have to say, here in the UK, we are not a check your papers society. We are not a country where it's like, we want to see your papers. We fought that shit during World War I and II, right? We fought against that thought process of checking papers. This is a digital form of that, isn't it? Now, I consider myself a bit of a tokenist when it comes to technology. This is like another side of it. Obviously, I haven't got my wallet on me right now. Obviously, I have ID. I have a driving license. I have a passport. I have a British and an American passport. I have a British and an American driving license. I've got identification, right? The other thing that a lot of people aren't talking about is the digital aspect of it. There are a lot of people who don't want to be digital. They don't want to be online. They don't want to have an online footprint. And to force people to do that, and if they can't rent a house and they can't get a job, like, that's insane. Like, I get it. I live online, right? This is my main job. I'm a YouTuber. The government probably knows everything about me. Let's be honest. They probably know everything about me. And so for someone like me, I get it. It's probably not that big of a deal because I'm giving them information they probably already have. But it's the principle of it. I'm a bit of a Tolkienist, right? If you don't know what that is, J.R.R. Tolkien, the best author in the world ever, in my opinion. A lot of his stories were about industrialization, advancements in technology, and how a lot of this stuff isn't necessarily good for humanity. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing, and that isn't like the main gist of his stories, but there's a lot of themes of that in there. And the idea that because technology is evolving, humanity is evolving, in my opinion, is actually wrong. I think the more technology evolves, the more humanity devolves. Okay? Is that the right word? Devolves? And I say that because I would much rather the government turn around and say, you can have a digital ID, but if you've got a driving license, a physical form of ID, so that you don't have to have a digital one with you at all times, or I don't even know if you've got to have it at all times, but so you're not got an online footprint. If that's fair enough, because you've got the ID card, right? You've got the driving license. To me, I wouldn't have been as worried about it because I would have just turned around and been like, yeah, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But what about people like me grandma who barely knows how to use her phone properly? I mean, she's pretty good with her phone now. But there's a lot of older people out there who have no idea about this stuff. And then all of a sudden, what? Are they going to stop getting their pensions? Like, what's going to happen? And what happens next when we're going to get further into it. Let's watch some more.
The new digital ID scheme would make it harder for those arriving by small boat to work in the UK illegally, say the government, storing digital credentials directly on people's own devices and using state-of-the-art encryption technology, they say, that's already used for millions of digital transactions daily.
So we already know with the rise of AI that online encryption is going to be it's not going to be for a little while, but it's going to be pointless, right? For those of you unaware, the better AI gets, the better it gets at calculations, the faster it gets, the smarter it gets. Means if you've got a password that's only 3 or 4 letters long, You ask an AI to figure out what it is, it'll find it very quick. It'll find it very quick. And so having passwords online, in my opinion, in the next 10 years, online banking will have to cease to exist because I know this is very conspiracy-esque. I get it, right? But all your passwords will be done for. They'll be gone for. And so, yes, this might be encrypted, but how long is it going to take for this to get hacked and everyone's ID's been taken? Let's be honest. You think the government are going to be able to keep this shit safe? It's only a matter of time before, oh, there was a data breach. Just so you know, there was a data breach. Or even if the government are like, oh, we can't really handle this. Before you know it, they're paying it off to a private company to take care of everyone's data. Like, what's that big frigging surveillance company called? Oh, shit, what's it called? I'm going to Google it. What's it called? It's owned by that dude that's super dodgy. He's a billionaire. Oh, what's it called? Damn it. Me mind's gone blank. You know which one I'm talking about. There's that dude who's super dodgy in the US. And he's starting to get into the government and do like surveillance and he has a company that does it and it's really weird. Anyway, that's the conspiracy. But what I'm saying is like it's only going to be a moment. It's only going to be a short period of time before the government's like, we can't handle this. We're going to pay a private company to take care of everyone's data, which makes it even worse.
This is an important moment where we decide that we will legislate so that we can enable identity cards to be taken forward.
ID cards, digital or otherwise, are nothing new though. It's 21 years since Tony Blair made similar proposals, which were promptly scrapped by the coalition government in 2010. Today's announcement is government overreach, say campaigners, and an infringement on civil liberties.
It is trying to sell something to the public that has been presented to us many.
I found it. Palantir is the company I was talking about. Palantir. And the guy is which is annoying because I'm pretty sure they use a lot of Lord of the Rings references. Peter Thiel, that's it. They use a lot of Lord of the Rings references, which is so like on the nose of like the all-seeing eye. They use so many references of Lord of the Rings with the mass surveillance company. Anyway, that's a whole nother thing.
Times before, as if it's now about illegal immigration. This proposal does not address the pull factors that bring people here illegally. It will simply push those who are already skirting the law further into the shadows. And in fact, it could create greater risks for people already in quite vulnerable situations.
This is an announcement that has done the rarest of things. Unify the voices of Reform UK.
We should not be requiring ordinary law-abiding citizens to carry digital ID.
With the Liberal Democrats.
We think it is a gimmick.
And the Conservatives.
We are opposed to mandatory digital ID cards.
Critics argue this is a knee-jerk reaction to a summer of flags and protests and a beleaguered Prime Minister clawing for patriotic policies. Some solihull shop owners argue...
Yeah, this is a moment for the government to be like, right, everyone's got digital IDs. Okay, if you commit a crime, it's going to be put on your digital ID. Right? And so if you get some young kid who wants to put up a flag, right, because they're following the movement of this flag raising thing that was going on, whether you agree on it or not, I don't really care. But some young kid who's all excited and is like, yeah, I'm going to put an English flag up. And then before you know it, on their digital ID, it says that they're right-wing. And this is before they're even really mature enough to form a correct political opinion. Do you get what I'm saying? Social scores and all that shite. It seems like a conspiracy right now. It really does. But all it takes is the implementation of this one thing, and then the next thing creeps in, and then the next, and the border just keeps getting pushed and pushed. The line keeps getting pushed and pushed out, isn't it?
The solution to a problem they didn't know existed.
Just over the last month, I've employed 2 new people in other branches, and it took me all of about 15 minutes to get that information. So there was nothing difficult about that at all. Over the last 20 years, we've taken on, well, we've got, I suppose, currently 15, 16 members of staff, and I've never had a problem getting any information off them, so it's a nonsense.
There you go. There you go. Okay, that's the last of that little bit on there that I want to talk about. I'm going to bring up the government website itself, and we can look at it. Before we get started, though, I want to talk a little bit more about it. As someone who, quite frankly, really dislikes technology, I like playing video games, like some of the stuff. But the reason I like playing video games is the stories, right? And a lot of people agree, but some people play it specifically just for the online. But you could say playing online and getting better and leveling up is a story in within itself. The thing is, humans are so connected to stories, right? That's the reason I love technology. Well, that's the reason I go to technology. Movies, TV shows, and video games. But even that is slowly dissipating in my life. I used to watch all the new movies coming out. I used to watch all the fantasy and sci-fi TV shows. I barely watch it now. I used to play all the video games, all of them. I barely play them now. And so my life, the way I see it is, as I get older, I'm hoping I transition from YouTube to Morale as my business. And then I'm hoping one day as I'm old, I can pass the baton of Morale to someone else to do good. And then my goal in life is to buy a little bit of land, have a tiny house on it when the kids have grown and moved out, and my own little space, my own little area, my garden, and I will have no technology. If you want to phone me, there'll be a landline. I'll have all my books, and I'll be more than happy. Legit. I'll probably be the happiest I've ever been. Actually, if the kids have moved out, that's probably not the case. I'll always be happy with the kids around. But you get what I'm saying, right? You get what my goal is, to eventually have enough money to sustain myself, to live off grid, and just be away from society and be okay with living a calm, peaceful life. And if I want my stories, I've got my books. I don't have to go to TV and movies and video games anymore. That's the way I want to, that's the true me. All right? Living in connection with the land. That's why I've made Morale, right? If you turn around to me and say, well, you can't do any of that anymore because you need a digital ID, you have to have a phone. You have to have an online presence. You have to have a digital ID. What? Like, why? Like, why can't I just have my driving license? No, you got to have a digital ID. And before you know it, if it gets to the point where I am living online and all that stuff, it's probably past all this now. It's probably all your records are on your digital ID, right? So before you know it, it's like, oh, well, on your ID, it says that you don't use online banking. So that's a red flag. Oh, you don't do this, you don't do that. Well, you can't pay for this, you can't pay for that. You can only pay with your digital ID these days to go to this vending machine, or you can only pay with a digital ID, you know, to do this, that. Oh, you can't access the NHS because you don't have a digital ID. Oh, you can't get treatment. You can't go to the doctors. You can't go to the dentist. You can't get help. You can't go to your library. You can't do all this stuff because you don't have a digital ID. It's insane. It is literally insane. I've got a driving license and a passport. What more do you want? I've got a birth certificate. What more do you want from me? This is a bullshit excuse about immigration, because what's happening is Labour's turned around and they found out that Reform is doing unbelievably well as a knee-jerk reaction to how shit Labour are doing. I'm getting really into politics here, and I don't usually do this, right? And Labour have turned around and been like, okay, we want to implement a digital ID. How can we spin it so it helps win over the people who voted for Reform? Okay, we'll make it about migration. That's all that's happened here. That's literally it. I used to have so much imposter syndrome that I'd be like, yeah, but maybe there's more of a reason. Maybe there's more of a reason. Maybe it's not that big. These days, I can see right through that shit. This is the government website about the digital ID. Came out on the 26th, so 2 days ago. Came out on Friday. A new digital ID scheme will make it easier for people to access the UK to use vital government services. The rollout will in time make it easier to apply for government and private sector services, such as helping renters to quickly prove their identity to landlords, improving access to welfare and other benefits, and making it easier for parents to apply for free childcare. So if I want to carry on renting the place I'm renting right now, I'm probably going to have to get this shit out of, whether I want to or not. It will also be required for right to work checks to stop those with no rights to be in the country from finding work. They never could anyway. They never could anyway. If you apply for a job, they do checks on you. This is so stupid. This is to send a clear message that if you come here illegally, you will not be able to. But they couldn't anyway. They couldn't anyway. How the digital ID works. Sorry, I'm getting really angry at this. Your free digital ID will be stored securely on your phone and will help to prove your identity, including age and residency status, simply accessing your government services and a range of other uses across the private sector. It is expected to be rolled out to all UK citizens and legal residents by the end of this Parliament. It will be free to download. Cool, great. That makes me want to do it. And employers will be required to check it as evidence of your right to work in this country. This is to curb the prospect of work of illegal migrants, a significant factor driving small boat crossings. No, it's not. No, it's not. They're coming over here because there's benefits to coming over here. It's not because of the work. I'll tell you that right now. I never talk about this shit. People are going to be in the comments like, what the hell's going on with Luke right now? Work is now underway to draw up the design and technical details of the scheme. So they haven't even sorted out the technical details yet. This is going to get rolled back. There's no way this isn't there digital ID protest sign up. Isn't there like a petition? That's the word I was looking for. Oh my God! 2.1 million people! Holy shit! 2.1 million people. Oh my God. That's insane. The government will be launching a public consultation later this year to ensure we get the best possible input. Yeah, they're going to get great input. Police will not be able to demand to see your digital ID as with current president. I guarantee that's going to change. In fact, they won't have to demand to see it because they'll already have it. They'll already be able to be like, who's this guy? Look at his driving license. They'll just take a ID scan of your face and be like, here he is, here's his ID. The new digital ID will be the authoritative proof of who someone is and their residency status in the country. Therefore, it will include name, date of birth, information, and nationality of residence status, a photo. What the digital ID will do. Improve access to public services like education and social benefits by making it easier for everyone to quickly and easily prove their identity. Reduce identity fraud. Toughen employment checks. Streamline verification process across private sectors. How the digital ID will make access to service easier. Streamline access, increase efficiency, reduce wait times. How your data and privacy will be protected. The digital ID will be designed with security at its core. Digital credentials. I can't even talk today, guys. Digital credentials will be stored directly on your own device, just like contactless payment cards or the NHS app today. So basically, just like everything you've already got, we're just going to do it again, but digital. And I guarantee it won't be stored. Anything that's stored directly on our device will be accessed by I guarantee it. I guarantee it. The system will use state-of-the-art encryption and authentication technology that's already protecting millions of digital transactions daily in the same way banking apps do. User control is at the heart of the proposal. Sharing the information contained in the ID should be instigated by you. Okay. How we will ensure it's available to everyone. Okay. Millions of people in the UK lack access to traditional proofs of identification like passports. It is estimated that 10% of UK citizens have never had a passport, while 93% of adults own a smartphone. This means that's contradictory. So 10% don't have passports and 7% don't have phones. So we're only improving by 3% here. Have you seen the switch they've done there to make it seem like this is a big idea? 10% don't have passports and 7% can't have digital IDs because they don't have a phone. You see what's going on there? This means it can be difficult to prove your eligibility for services such as opening a bank account and claiming benefits. Digital ID will give you free, secure identity verification. To ensure those with physical and cognitive disabilities can use it, we will integrate assistive technologies like screen reading, voice commands. But yeah, I mean, that makes sense. To make it easier to navigate and people can do so independently, we will reduce exclusion, promote more equal participation in society. Promote more equal participation in society? To make it easier to navigate and people can do so independently, this will promote more equal participation in society, help ensure that more people can exercise their civil rights. As part of our consultation, we will be making sure the scheme is inclusive by considering physical alternatives are available for those without smartphones. So like a driving license, physical alternatives are available for those. So it's just driving license and a passport. So for the 7% of people who don't have phones, they can have access to something physical. Which 10% of people don't have anyway. Face-to-face help is on hand during rollout. That's going to be horrendous. Who's going to get that job? Who's going to get that job? That's going to be horrendous. You can imagine the phone lines. Dedicated casework is provided for challenging situations such as people who lack proof of their identity. Why will it be a legal requirement in some instances to tackle illegal working? Only UK citizens and legal residents will be able to have one. We'll have to pay for them. No, it'll be free. Will this be implemented in Scotland, Wales, and Northern Ireland? Yes. How do I know my data will be secure? Your privacy and data will be protected using advanced security and encryption, just like banking apps do. Will you sell my data? Someone screenshot that. Someone screenshot that. Get it while it's on the internet. Screenshot it. Does it mean I will be able to travel abroad without my physical passport? No. So what's the point? It's just so they can check you. Come on. You're not gonna be able to check. You can't use it to travel. I don't have a passport or driving license. How will I get a digital ID? For UK citizens and legal residents without any form of valid photo ID, there will be additional options for providing identity. For particularly challenging cases, personal support from a caseworker will be available. This will be necessary to support inclusion for all of the... So this is a massive red flag. What's going to happen here is if you are completely out the system, maybe you've lost your birth certificate, you don't have a driving license, you don't have a passport, you live completely off grid, and you turn around and you're like, I need a digital ID because I can't access the NHS or I can't go to my local library or whatever. They're going to turn around and be like, no, you've got no proof that you're a legal resident and therefore you can't do anything. Or it'll be incredibly difficult to do. That's a massive red flag, especially for older people. They need to make sure that they are able to figure out who is a citizen and who isn't. That's going to be insane. Will the police be able to spot check IDs or use part of stop and search? No. That's probably going to change as well. Let's be honest. I mean, all this is subject to change. I think the amount of pushback they've got on this... Look, I love the UK. I really do. I love living here. I think it's like one of the best places in the world to live. And a lot of people will disagree with me with that because of all the different, sides of the political spectrum. I'm proud of what this country's fought for in the past. I'm a veteran. My dad's a veteran. My great-granddad was a veteran. Like, it runs in our blood. I love this country a lot. And I want it to do well. I really do. I just don't see this as a good step forward. I understand that there is this need to progress like a parallel line with technology, right? You see a lot of people that are like, why do we have to go to a polling station to vote? It should just be a government app now where we verify who we are and we can just vote from the comfort of our own home and blah, blah, blah. But again, as someone who is very much like a Tolkienist, and I love the idea that Tolkien brought forward in Lord of the Rings, that the advancement of industrialization and technology does not necessarily mean an advancement in humanity. As someone who believes in that, I think that there are some things that should be done in the classical old way. You need ID, here's my driving license. Here's my passport, right? I am not someone who is against government or against policing. If a police officer came to my house and was like, we've got some questions, I'm not the type of person that's going to be like, what do you want? What are you doing? I'm going to be like, what do you need? You see these videos all the time where people are hostile to police are just trying to do their job, right? You see these videos where people are like instantly hostile to police. That's not going to get you anywhere. You got to be nice. Just be a nice person. Be like, what do you want? What do you need from us? Let's try and help each other out here and figure out what's going on. If they turn around to the house and they're like, your social credit's low on your digital ID, therefore your kids can't see the NHS, got a problem. Got a problem. Probably move back to America at that point. You know? I think if the UK implements something like this, I think in the next 10 years, America will as well. Just so you know. That's kind of how it works in the West. France has got this already. I'd love to know more statistics on how well it's doing in France. And how much it's benefited them. Because they've got an insane amount of immigration, illegal immigration right now, and they've got digital ID. I'm pretty sure they've got digital IDs. Let me Google it real quick. Does France have digital ID? Yeah. Yeah, they do. And they're still struggling with immigration. So that's another big pointer, as we know that this is all bullshit, right? I don't think a lot of people, I mean, obviously a lot of people don't want this. 2.179 million people actively have gone online to say no to this. They've actively gone to say no, right? That means, in my opinion, there are many, many more people who are definitely against this, who haven't just gone online and voted for. I haven't voted. I'm against it, and I haven't signed up for this petition, right? So there you go, right? There's going to be a lot more people who are against this who have not signed up for it. So imagine how many people are against this. I think that there is a massive political shift happening in the UK and the US right now, and it's unprecedented. It's just insane. We've seen the polls that Reform are outdoing Labour now like crazy. And there's going to be shifts here and there. And it's scary as someone who doesn't necessarily, like too much government intervention. My kids are homeschooled. They go to a forest school. They don't go to public school, which here in the UK is vastly different than if you did it in America, right? There's a lot more restrictions here in the UK. My kids are homeschooled and stuff. I've got a wife who is an immigrant, right? She's American, the mother of my kids, right? I'm a citizen of two different countries. And although, yes, I am a veteran, I definitely wouldn't want my kids going in the military, right? So I am in a position where I'm very much, I don't like too much government intervention. At the same time, I'm online, right? I know for a fact the government, the military, like they know everything about me, and that's fine. Like I'm okay with that. I'm okay with them knowing everything about me, so I can get information out there to help you lot. But I don't think this is the right path. I don't think it'll happen. I think it'll get changed. I don't think it'll happen. I really don't. I think it'll stop. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. I'd love to know your thoughts. I've tried to be as politically unbiased in this video, even though this is obviously very political. I've not given you my opinions on where I think you should be, where I am on the political spectrum and stuff like that. I just think this particular instance is something that should be talked about, because I do think it is not the right direction to go in. I really believe that. And if you disagree with me, I listen, I'm subject to change my opinions just like everyone else is. And I think that people who are stubborn enough to never change their opinions are either really stubborn, they think they're right, or they're not malleable enough to live in to have a good debate with. I change my opinion on things all the time, and I think that that's what people should be able to do. So yeah, let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. It's a very touchy subject. I know it's probably going to get very political in the comments. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Let's specifically talk about the digital ID in the comments, because I think that's where productive discussions come in. right? If you start finger pointing and shouting and all this other stuff about political opinions on everything else, oh, you shouldn't be Labour, or you shouldn't be Reform, you shouldn't be Conservative, you should be Green Party. The moment we do that, we lose the conversation about digital IDs, okay? So in the comments, let's have a good, mature conversation about digital IDs, okay, guys? Check out Chug, 10% off, link down below. And if you want to drink a drink that aligns with your ethos of being outside more than being connected online, check out Morale. It's what we're trying to do. I've got a good idea of the next step I want to do with Morale, about getting the next generation of kids outside to connect with nature more. I think that's really important. It's something I'm very passionate about. And we're going to be doing more programs and schemes with Morale and the profits of Morale to get kids outside. So if you want to be part of that, go over to the Instagram, follow on the Instagram, and go buy some Morale. It's available right now. If you're in America, go buy yourself a t-shirt or a hoodie. These hoodies are so soft. They're so soft. Everybody loves them. So go buy some stuff and support the movement. Other than that, I love you all. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.